What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Disc Golf Nerd Plastic Podcast. I want to do a quick recap of the Waco Annual Charity Open that took place in Waco, Texas at Brazos Park East. The event was presented by Dynamic Discs. It was a Disc Golf Pro Tour event. Lots of great coverage out there from it, from either Smashbox and also Jomez. So if you guys are interested in checking it out, if you haven't already seen that, I highly recommend that you check it out. Definitely some great shots and a really interesting course. I really like the way the course looked. It is on my list of courses that I would love to go check out, but probably won't make it to anytime soon. It just looked really great. It's like half open, half wooded. They switched it around this year, and they actually set it up so that it started in the open and it went through the back nine. It was traditionally the woods. That was more in the middle of the round, and then they had 6 more holes at the end of the round to actually finish up on, which I thought was an interesting idea. They wanted it to be gallery friendly for everything, so they kind of kept it on the open side for the finishing holes, and the 2 finishing holes were really great. 17 in this layout. I'm not sure what it would be normally. I believe it was hole 5. So I think they ended on hole 6. So hole 5 or 17 for the tournament. If you watch the coverage, just a really tremendous par 4. Really strong dog leg to the right. You gotta have to, throw it out over the water or over OB and hook it up and have it fade towards the water. Very tricky approach shot. That was really interesting to watch them attack it. And then the last shot was a big over the water par 4 that was quite reachable to get on the green for most of the top pros, but with the wind and stuff, a lot of them were laying up out wide and then pitching over. So it was a very risk-reward kind of scenario. You could go for it. You could definitely make it, but there's OB behind the basket and also, obviously, the water in front of it. So, yeah, it just looks like a really great layout, great place to play a tournament. The woods looked tough but fair, very, well-defined fairways and lines that you can hit without a lot of trees, just in the middle of the fairway. But if you missed your line and hooked it, early or flipped it right, you were in some serious trouble, and it was scramble time. Cool to see players attack the differences in the courses and have them have to show that they're proficient at both woods golf and that more kind of open bomber golf in order to be successful at the event. So, yeah, it looks like a great course, and it seemed like the event ran really smooth. The Disc Golf Pro Tour is doing a great job so far this year, as far as I'm concerned. Looks like they're getting good galleries, and it looks like the events have been going very smoothly. The coverage has been good. Smashbox ran into some signal issues out there, and there's only so much they can do about that. They show up and trying to do their best at all times, and they're transparent about all of it. But there's just limitations that they have to deal with in terms of the signal that they're able to get and all that stuff. So Jomez did a great job covering it. Had some interesting commentary teams over the course of the weekend. Had Simon and Eagle commentating together, which was interesting. I mean, I don't know how I feel about the whole players on the card doing the commentary kind of thing. It's just a little bit weird. Sometimes it provides insight that you couldn't get otherwise. Sometimes it's just a little strange. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm a big fan of it either way. The one episode, it was Jeremy Colling with Eagle and Simon, all 3 of them doing commentary together. And that one was pretty entertaining. It was kind of funny. The last round the commentary was done by Jeremy Colling and James Conrad, which was, I thought, a little bit maybe verging on the teetering on the edge of spoilers. You know what I mean? Like, to have those 2 guys when they were up really close to the top of the event, like to have them doing the commentary kind of gives you a hint that they might have had something to do with it, and that most likely Jeremy Colling's not going to blow up and get tracked down by somebody else if he's doing the commentary on the last round. You know what I mean? So that was kind of a weird thing. James Conrad, great golfer. And, he's definitely understands the game super well. He's just a little bit low energy on the mic. I think, he's maybe not the best choice for that, just based on the fact that he's just kind of a quiet, reserved dude. So that's not really It doesn't really lend itself to commentary so well, but I'm not trying to like call him out. I thought he did a fine job. Jeremy Colling perhaps talked about himself and his own shots a little bit too much, but he got a lot of feedback. He's an intelligent guy, and I think he'll do better with it next time now that he kind of understands that. But a couple of times he's just still talking about his shot for the whole rest of the group throwing theirs. You know, it's just kind of weird. So yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about all that stuff, but really it's up to Jomez to create their content the way they do it. And, you know, everybody's entitled to your opinion, but you're not entitled to, you know, you can be entitled to your opinion without being empowered to bear any influence on the way other people create their content, you know? Like, they're the ones making it, putting in the time and the effort to make it, so it's all on them. They're going to take in feedback like any intelligent media entity would and kind of move on from there. But at the end of the day, they kind of got to do their thing and you know, see how it goes. And they're still kind of trying stuff out, so we'll see how that progresses for the rest of the year, if this is something commentary wise they'll continue or not. So let's talk results. Obvious spoiler alerts in this whole thing, but you should know what's going on with this already if you care. If you haven't seen any of this stuff, go check that out. Obviously, like I recommended, the Jomez coverage was great. The filming, and regardless of what you think of the commentary, the actual video coverage of the shots is amazing. I would love to see a day, I mentioned this on Smashbox the other day, I would really love to see a day that there was some kind of way that you can just turn the commentary track on and off. That would be tremendous. Then everybody could kind of have it their way. If you don't like the commentators, you know, because if immediately if you say, oh, I don't really like the commentary, people just go, oh, just mute it. It's like, all right, so then I just sit there in silence and just like, why would I? Nobody wants to do that. I want to hear the chains. I want to hear the player chatter. I want to hear the crowds. Like, I don't want to sit and watch it in silence. Like, that's ridiculous. That's not a good solution to not enjoying the commentary, you know? I would love to see them just more or less. I think Central Coast did this a few times. I don't know if it was just a test or if it was something they were trying out or what. They stopped doing it, but they were at one point posting the version of the video without commentary and then with commentary. And I loved that. I was watching the no commentary version for most of the times that they offer that. And I think that's a great idea, but then you have to, upload 2 different files and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's kind of a toss-up, but we'll see where things go. It's an interesting time to be a disc golf fan, and it's cool to see everybody try to work through this stuff as they go, kind of a thing. So let's talk results. Let's talk about the female pro open division. Paige Pierce once again taking down the field, in the end winning by several strokes over Sarah Hokum, although the final tally does not really show how close of a contest it really was. After the first round, they kind of separated themselves from the rest of the pack. Those 2 ladies just really pushed everybody else away and rose above the rest of the field. Paige shooting 7 under par on the first day, including a double bogey on hole 11. Took a 5 there, still shoots 7 down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 birdies, which is pretty tremendous, far and away. Just way, way, way more than anybody else in the field. Sarah Hokum shoots 2 under par, just mostly par golf with 3 birdies and 1 bogey in there. So she's 2 down, and then everybody else was over par on the first round. Nobody else was even in the negatives after the first round. Stephanie Vincent, Katrina Allen. The way I'm looking at it on UDisc here, it's showing me the final standings with the individual scores. So Paige just totally in control at that point. Jumps out to a big lead, and you think this thing's in the bag already. I mean, who's gonna track her down that many strokes? Then she comes into the second round, and the thing I really liked about this event too was that it was 3 rounds on the same course, same layout. I really like that. I think that is the best way to have a high-level professional tournament. I said it for the Memorial recap. I would love to just see 3 rounds of Fountain. I think that would be perfect. I don't think you need any of the other courses. I think Fountain's the best one. Has great signal for coverage. It looks great on film. There's plenty of opportunity for big shots. and for players to shred the course, and you got to be able to do it 3 times in a row. I think that really is telling. Can you keep repeating those shots, at a high level? So Paige comes out in the second round, shoots even. So that's a huge difference. She takes only one birdie on the front half of the course, or beyond that really. She takes a 3 on hole 12. Again, starting at 7, so it's kind of confusing. But she takes a 3, or takes a 2 on the par 3, hole 12, 267 feet. Then she takes a bogey there, par. Then a double bogey on 15, which was the par 5, which looked really tough. Some of those par 5s were not really very long, and they were definitely eagleable if you hit 2 really great shots to get down there. But if you got off the fairway at all, they were really tough, and they looked really, really tricky to navigate. And super scramble golf if you get off the fairway. Then she rallied with a couple of birdies at the end, but then took another double bogey. Finished on a birdie 3 to finish at even for the round. Sarah Hokum shoots the identical score, although got to it a little bit differently with a couple more bogeys and a couple more birdies. Shoots another 2 down. So at that point, they were pretty close. It was a much tighter contest at that point. It's hard for me to just look at this. I'd have to go in and do actual work and pre-work on this, and not just ramble, but to actually give you guys what the scores were going through all this stuff. But it was interesting to see how different Paige's second round was from her first, though. It was really interesting and kind of strange. So Sarah shoots 265s, Paige shoots a 60, and then a 67. Therefore, putting them relatively close to each other. Heading into round 3, let's take a look here. You obviously are hearing me clicking around. I'm on UDisc Live right now, looking at the recap of the scores and stuff. Sarah is playing very well to start the final round, and I believe was either tied or very close at some point to Paige. Again, really a 2-horse battle at that point. Everybody else still over par for the tournament, and on their rounds. Nobody else even really shooting under par rounds out there besides Sarah and Paige. Comes out in the final round, and she's doing quite well. Takes a bogey on 10, a nice turkey there on 12 through 14, and then kind of starts slipping. A couple of pars, and then takes 3 bogeys in a row, followed by a birdie, and then bogey, par, bogey to end. Paige comes out, shoots pretty clean, only one blemish on the round. Takes a 5 on the par 4, hole 10, 441 feet. And then, finishes out with all pars and birdies, including going birdie, birdie, par, par to finish the round at 4 down and end up winning the tournament by, 7 strokes at that point. So, it was a tight battle. Throughout that final round, Sarah kind of just fell off right at the end. And congratulations once again to Paige Pierce for coming out on top. It's really shaping up to be a tremendous season for her. Now that she's on Team Dynamic Discs, she feels like she's really confident in her plastic, and she feels like she knows what's going on, and that she's just really hard to beat right now. I really don't know. I feel like if she's playing at her best, I don't think anybody else can keep up. And even when she's not playing at her best, it's that second round she did not do very well, far less than she's capable of doing, and still made no real big mistakes, and was able to rally and come back and shoot a hot round again in the final round and shut down the competition. So congratulations to Paige Pierce. The Paige Pierce Convict signature stamp Paige Pierce Convict is now out on the market, so you guys should go check that out. If you're a fan of Paige and you want to support her and her efforts out there on tour, plus get yourself a sweet stable to overstable fairway disc from Dynamic Discs, I totally recommend checking that out. I hope to review a Paige Convict relatively soon, so stay tuned for that. Congrats to Paige, congrats to Sarah for shooting a really strong event and keeping up with the easily the best female golfer in the world right now, Paige Pierce, and giving her a real run for it. Sarah's very effective in the woods, snaking through those fairways with her kind of unorthodox forehand lines. She can work a lot of interesting lines on the forehand, and if Sarah can dial in her putting a little more. I think she'll be a lot more dangerous. You saw her putting quite well at some of the earlier events in the season. If she can just really dial that in and hit a lot of putts inside the circle, I think she would be pretty easily the second best player in the world, if not actually track Paige down one of these times. So let's round out the top few here. Stephanie Vincent ends up in third at 9 over par, so quite a big difference there between her and Sarah in second at 4 under par. Then you got Madison Walker and Katrina tied for fourth, both at 10 over. Lisa Ficus at 12 down is at sixth. Jennifer Allen at 12 over for Lisa Ficus. Jennifer Allen 15 over. And then you got Des Redding and Maria Oliva tied for eighth. Melody Weibel also tied for eighth there. Tina from DD, Tina Stenitis, finished in 12th position. Had some good rounds out there, but also got into some trouble as well. But yeah, so that's the wrap up for the female pro open division. Let's talk about the open division. So it's interesting when you click over to the open division how much more blue there is at the top of this. Like some of these rounds these dudes are putting together at the top level here are just absolutely ridiculous, especially for the final round. I mean, all the rounds they did really well, but there are some serious, just crazy golf going on in the final round. So let's talk about it. First round, Jeremy Colling goes 13 under par, including a bogey on the second to last hole. He takes a 5 there on, tournament 17, which is course hole 5. I know that's still confusing to me, and it was definitely confusing during the coverage too, where I was like, just kind of confused as to where they were and how many more holes were left and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, that was a little bit confusing. I totally understand why they did it, though, so it's all good there. Who else was shooting hot that first round? I wonder if I can adjust it for the round here. Yeah, I can. Sweet. So for the first round, Jeremy Colling shoots the hot round of the day, 13 under par. Ricky Wysocki only one away from that. Bogey free, 12 down, just coasting, smashing the course. James Conrad shoots 11 down, including a stretch of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is it 9? Yeah, 9 birdies in a row from 14 to all the way up to hole 4, and then takes a par, and then finishes on a birdie on the last hole. Just ridiculous golf. Greg Barsby shoots 10 down. Dave Feldberg, eagle. A bunch of folks were at 9 or 10 down after that first round. So yeah, just really clean, tons of birdies to get out there. Some of the par 4s and par 5s were a little questionable on the par. They were pretty gettable for these guys, but ultimately par doesn't really matter. You throw your disc less times than everybody else, you win. It doesn't matter if you're 100 under par or 100 over par. If you threw your discs more times or less times than everybody else, you win the tournament, and par is basically irrelevant at that point. So then getting into round 2, Simon Lizotte comes out hot, shoots a 12 down, bogey free as well. As Mike Laitala, which I don't believe I'm familiar with him. He as well goes 12 under par. Nico Lacastro. Nico Lacastro had a really rough situation. He got into a car accident on the way to the first round. Ended up, let's go back and look at Nico actually here for the first round. Nico Lacastro is pretty amazing. We're going to have to go down quite a bit to find him because of what happened to him here. Let's see. Here he is. So the first round, he shoots 8 over par after taking quadruple bogeys based on being late because he got hit by another driver. Hits him. He's late to the course. He misses 4 holes of golf. So he gets quadruple bogeys on the first 4 holes. Then he goes birdie, birdie straight away as soon as he gets to the course. Par, par, birdie, par, par, birdie, par, birdie, par, birdie, par, birdie. So he hits nothing but pars and birdies, actually including an eagle on the par 5. So hits a 3. Still shoots 8 over, even taking 4 quadruple bogeys on the first 4 holes. So Nico rallies, and big shout out to Nico for keeping a positive attitude and just showing up and just playing golf. He had nothing to lose at that point. He just showed up and just started crushing it, and ended up doing really well and just barely missing out on the cash, unfortunately. So, where did Nico shoot the next round? Let's see if I can find him. A little tricky to find people in here sometimes. Yeah, Nico ends up shooting 12 down on the second round, including a triple bogey on 17. So he has birdie, par, birdie, couple of pars, couple of birdies, par. Then he goes from starting on hole 15, birdie, 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 eagle on hole 1, birdie, birdie, eagle on hole 4. Then he takes a triple bogey on 17, which is what we talked about. It was a really tough hole, course hole 5, and then still finishes on a birdie to shoot 12 under on the second round. So just crushing it, going for everything and getting most of it. So huge shout out to Nico for rallying, keeping his attitude strong, and just going out there and just playing some golf. You know what I mean? He finished one stroke out of the cash, which is really brutal, tough for him to deal with, and I feel for him. But it's nice to see him get out there and just get on with it. He's got golf to play and just go shred the course. And barring that one blemish, getting into some trouble probably at the water or the OB line on course hole 5, the event hole 17, he really just destroyed the course. And if he took a par there, I mean, he would have had one of the most ridiculous rounds of the tournament, and still an absolutely insane round to shoot 12 down with a triple bogey. It's just, beyond belief. John Perry shoots 11 down on that round. Devin Owens shot quite well. Will Schustrick had himself a nice round at 10 under par. Nice to see Will shooting well. And Ricky and Jeremy Colling drop off a little bit, only going 9 under par on round 2. So let's get into round 3. We can once again readjust based on just overall standings at the end of this round. So it just got really intense for this round, and there's some really just tremendous golf being played out there. And really, it could have been anybody's game. There was a few different people that were in position to take it down had they held it together, and just had a couple more mistakes by some of the other competitors. There's a bunch of people in position at the start of the round to take it down. So yeah, Jeremy Colling just shoots really well. Shoots 12 under par, bogey free. He had definitely some pars mixed in there, and he was winning the lead card pretty comfortably over, I believe it was Simon, Ricky, and Barsby in the last round lead card. I'm not 100% sure. He was winning lead card pretty comfortably, and he thought he was in good shape, Little did he know, James Conrad was just absolutely murdering the course, as long with Miles Seaborn on the chase card. So James Conrad starts off the final round going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 birdies in a row, followed by a par, and then immediately eagles the next hole to shoot 9 under par on the front 9, which is just bonkers. Then he gets another birdie, one more par, and another 5-pack of birdies. So he's just shredding the course. Jeremy Colling, I think, got wind of that at some point. I'm not really sure. And realized he needs to kind of step it up a little bit. Took a giant eagle on hole 4, the third to last hole there. That was a huge moment right there. And then right after that, James Conrad got into the only trouble of the entire round for him, where he took a 5 on the second to last hole, the really interesting par 4 with the water, the dogleg that we talked about earlier. Same hole that Nico got into trouble on. He takes a 5 there. I watched it live. You could see it he just hyzered out a little early, I think, into the drink, and it just never had a chance to stay on the island, or I don't even think it hit the island. It just went super long, so he takes a 5 there. And really, had he got up and down for the birdie there, he wins the event. And that was it, Simon went 11 down on the last round. He was doing quite well. Ended up tied for third with Ricky Wysocki, who shot 10 down, bogey-free on that last round. Just had a little stretch in the middle there where he couldn't get any 2s or couldn't get any birdies, and it really kind of cost him, He had that little 5-pack of pars in the middle of the round, and, if he got a couple more of those, he could have been he could have been up there in contention, but not quite for Ricky. Another top 3 and solid finish and solid event, but not quite. Miles Seaborn just massacres the course as well, shooting 14 under par with no bogeys. So him and James were pushing each other, just crushing it on the second card. Miles finishes in 5th place along with Greg Barsby. Then you have Mike Laitala in 7th. Good, huge finish for him as a person that I've never heard of. I'm sure he was real stoked on a top 10, beating out all kinds of great players like Patrick Brown in 8th, Devin Owens, Emerson Keith tied for 9th with Bo Tillman. Then you got tied for 12th was Feldberg and Eagle, Philo, Drew Gibson, Zachariah Johnson, Shoestrick, all tied for 14th. So there's some tremendous players out there, rounding out the top 15 or so. I don't need to go too much farther than that. So really great golf being played on the chase card, and Jeremy shooting well enough on the lead card to take it to a playoff. So as he shoots his 12 down, gets a couple of pars in there, probably a few more than he wanted to get, but no bogeys, takes the big eagle on hole 4, the third to last hole there, and then James takes that 5 on 17, and I must be confusing you guys with these hole numbers. Whatever. What can I do here? Just a tremendous action-packed final round, and they end up tied. Jeremy Colling on the last shot goes over the water, as he'd been doing the whole event, and has a look for the eagle for the outright win, and decides to just take the sure thing and lay it up next to the basket, tap in, and move on to the playoff. I thought that was interesting. I thought he was going to at least give it a little half a go. But if you blow by that and you have a little tester comebacker, from 25 or something, you doink that, now you lose. That's not what you want. So take the sure thing, move on to the playoff. I dig it. They moved back to, I forget which hole they played. I wonder if this will tell me if I click on this here. Yeah, so they moved back to hole 3, which is the par 4. There's the one that has the big, there's electrical boxes and some railings and stuff around them. None of it's OB. It's just kind of an obstacle, I guess, and it's there to protect the equipment, I guess. And interestingly, James Conrad gets the box, I believe, with the hot round of the day. He gets the first throw. And rather than throw the straight kind of T-bird shot up the middle and then go for the easy 3, like he had been doing the whole tournament, he stables up, he discs up, and he tries to mash one down there. He puts a big rip on it. It's looking good. It just doesn't quite check up for him, and just barely trickles OB. Therefore, it's a weird play, and I thought about this a lot after watching it. Like, do you do that? Do you go for the big shot? He's capable of getting it up there by the green. He's got a big distance throw. He puts everything on those distance throws too. It's fun to watch him throw because he just really puts his whole body into it when he's really going for max distance. But then, where he's getting a lot of the work done is just throwing really, really straight lines, a lot of putters off the tee. If you guys want to see a really effective use of a putter off the tee, go check out James Conrad's rounds at this event. Or any event he plays in. He throws a lot of AVRs and he's money with the putter off the tee. And, so he stables up, he discs up, he goes for something hard, way down there. And I don't know about the play. It's a little bit tricky. Obviously, I'm not in that position, and, I've never had a playoff or anything that I've had to deal with. So it's kind of tricky, Had he stuck it down there, you basically you're basically forcing Jeremy to try to either keep up or hope he doesn't make the putt and play for the easy 3. But having gone for it and skipped trickled OB, all Jeremy really had to do was do what he did all event, throw one up there relatively close, do a little pitch up with a putter or mid-range, and tap in for the easy 3 for the win. James Conrad had a long look at a circle 3 from the OB line. He took a really good run at it and almost canned it. But by the time he had missed that, Jeremy was already up next to the bucket, and that was it. It was game over. He tapped in for the 3, and James finished with a 4 there, and the playoff only lasted 1 hole. I'm sure Johnny V and Terry both breathed a sigh of relief that the playoff was over. As much as you'd think they want exciting finishes and playoffs and stuff like that, but any kind of extra holes is just just makes it more likely for something to go wrong and have the feed cut out or something devastating on that last during the playoff. That would be really really tough for them to deal with. So I'm sure they were pretty stoked to see it end quickly. And congratulations, Jeremy Colling. He's playing really hot so far with his Innova Plastic. I'm not exactly sure if he's using the P2s or the Mic Pros, but it seemed like he was using P2s during that round. But who really knows? He's definitely still coming to terms with his Innova basket, or his Innova bag, rather. He just did an in the bag video from Gentleman's Club, but I know for a fact that he already has different discs in there than he did then, because he was talking about throwing the Champ Shrike on the commentary for the Waco event, and then that was not in his in the bag that they filmed out at Gentleman's Club in Vegas out there. So I'm sure his bag will continue to change over the course of the year and over the course of his career. I mean, nobody's bag really stays that similar unless you're Nate Doss, and even Nate Doss throws in a new disc now and again, like he added the Undertaker. But he absolutely is the most consistent bag setup of anybody I know of. At the highest level. Everybody else, switching out stuff, trying stuff, and, getting different discs from different folks and seeing how they work for you. So, yeah, he was throwing the Champ Shrike for distance forehands, and looked like he was working really nice lines with them. And seems to be in relatively strong control of the plastic that he's working with so far. And, good for him. Good for Paige. Paige is clearly enjoying her DD plastic. She knows what's going on with that stuff real well. She's real dialed in with it, and it's going to be hard for anybody to track her down. That is my recap of the Waco Charity Open. I don't really have much else for you guys. I'm, still trying to continue the ball rolling with my my channel here and my reviews and stuff. If you guys have any more questions for me, I'd love to do another question and answer episode of the show. I had a lot of fun doing that, so go find the video that you can use to submit questions to me. I appreciate it. And, thanks for listening. I will check you guys later. All right, cheers.